Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the day of the video down. How's it going today? Today, it's the afternoon. I'm walking away from work. As I was walking in this morning, Lewis got off the bus, so I'm like, I'm gonna have to stop and talk, aren't I? I can't just keep vlogging and walk past him. So, yeah. What's going on though today? Hey, another half day Friday, as is the way. It's Thursday, but still a half day Friday for me. Actually had quite a busy day today as well. Didn't do anything in the morning before I came to work especially. Last night I got in a bit of a spin doing the changes I was doing to my program. So I actually had to check it in broken, which killed me because I had to basically have a red build until I could get in today and fix it. So I got it in today, fixed it, did a bit of refactoring and all that kind of stuff. But I only had like an hour to play with it, so I'm gonna have to do a lot more of that tonight. But the weather's nice, so I might go to the park for a little bit before any of that stuff. But I'm going to get into the car and tell you about the rest of my work day now. I'm again attempting to beat the bus so that I can drive past the Lewises and laugh at them as they wait and what have you, because it's funny. Especially Lewis, because obviously he used to have a car. So the fact that his is broken makes me roll with enjoyment. So yeah, otherwise I've got news and stuff to tell you. I need to start my speaker, so let's go. I love how this room is kept in a nighttime hibernation mode when it's hot outside. Following over to the park, chatting to Shawnee boy about politics. That's good fun. Soaking up some rays, you know. I wasn't going to stay here long, but I've actually gone to a bit of a chinwag with Shawnee boy. I'm thinking of going back soon so that I can do some development work. I've got quite a lot of stuff I want to tick off tonight, programming wise. I wonder if, and if I lie like this it looks like you're a phone or something, I wonder if like hot weather, because people say like hot weather always makes them feel better, it makes them feel like energised and stuff, doesn't it? But I wonder if it's a bigger or like actually has a negative effect on productivity. What has a better effect on productivity, hot weather or cold weather? Because I think it's cold weather. Well, people go, oh, cold weather always puts me in a bad mood. But you're inside and you do work, don't you? I always do a lot more work when it's hot. When it's cold, I guess, and rainy, because then you're inside doing work, you know? So, I'm gonna go get some food, because if I don't have dinner now, when I do go in and have dinner, I'll just eat a load of biscuits and then not want my dinner. You know? And in my head I was having chili tonight for dinner. Not sausage bean. That cocks everything up, doesn't it? I shouldn't have spent that long with the sausage bean's actually relatively lengthy to make. Not just like boil some pasta. Oh, I've got to do potatoes and shit. In fairness, it doesn't actually take that long to cook. Boiling them off, and then this. Just waiting for this. By the time that's ready to boil, it'll be time to microwave that and put me green beans on and sieve out me spuds blur noise. I've been dancing around. I had an idea about where Laura could potentially apply for a job, so I just went researching it, see if I could find like explicitly. I know someone who knows. Well, I know someone who works there, but it's the kind of job where you can't really say you're doing that job. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to track down like any better contacts than just general old Google. But no, I've just been sending her some stuff. Work though, what's been going on at work today? Work has been surprisingly busy. There's a lot of meetings yesterday based around like how the infrastructure of the system was going to work, and today like all of a sudden we've got like this huge scrum, and I'm like, what the hell? I wasn't even in half of this meeting because I was doing live deployment and stuff. People are talking about like brute force testing this. And I'm like, looking, okay, people are making a move. But today I was sourcing some issues we were having with our live environment. Turns out some of the transforms I was having from environment to environment to environment, one of the tags wasn't being transformed, and we never noticed. Going from dev to 1.2 in those two environments. Didn't notice this thing wasn't changing because it always pointed the same place until we went to live, in which case it then pointed elsewhere. If it wasn't for these live tests that we were trying to do, we'd never have noticed that. So that's pretty good. We also did said live's tests, fired in data, made sure, watched it go through, debugged why it wasn't working, figured out it was transformed, A little bit of work done on my... Oh no, actually, these aren't cooking quite as quick as I thought they would be. It'll be fine, we just won't take the potatoes out until everything else is done. It'll be done soon. A little bit of work done on my project, got it back to being green, except I still need to direct it to the solution in which we're trying to build, the solution under test. So that's what I've now got to do. Got to make sure it does that in a logical way. I kind of had it so one thing was doing a lot, and I didn't like that. So we're doing it properly. What else then? What else happened at work? Lunchtime, live deployments and stuff. And I think that was it. It felt like a lot more during the day. It was a busy day. I was actually busy all day. I actually worked through lunch as well. But when I say it like that, it doesn't sound like it was that busy. So I don't know actually. I don't bloody well know. Must have been something else I was doing. I think the live deployment thing just took a long time. So maybe it was that. And it happened, it's kicked off basically through lunch. Like before that I did all my project for my work for my project, well half of it, and then live deployment kicked off, worked through lunch sorting all that kind of stuff out, and then after, there was a bit of a lull towards the end as well to be fair. Tomorrow though, ladies and gentlemen, we also had a meeting based on like how the structure of the company is going to be working in our department. Which is interesting because we're being split down now into two different teams. An applications team and an e-commerce team. Everyone knows like what team they're in, except for the students. Like a big schematic came out of like where everyone was going to lie, and we were just not on it. So we're like, what? But we're going to be spliced between like all of the different the two different teams. At the moment, both of the teams are going to be doing like similar stuff. There might be a natural split. So e-commerce is like more front end stuff, user-facing software. Applications is more like what I've been currently doing, which is like stuff that just sits in the background, so that stuff that the front end basically hooks into, background stuff. Be that like the engine that allows the front end to work, or just a completely separate thing that helps in a different way. So they're out now. We don't know where we're going though, and I don't know which one I want to go into. Like, I actually haven't had all that much experience building websites and doing like MVCs and all that kind of stuff, front-end stuff. I've had next to no experience of that. Well, the only experience I had was when we first started at the company on Team Jam, and I was working on the board, and the board is not a good piece of... That's not something you want to say. That's not like give an example of when anything good happened. No. Give an example of when something went horrendously wrong. Yep, that board. Because we didn't know, we was told to make it. We didn't even know what an MVC was, let alone how to make one. So, yeah, I don't know whether I want to stick with what I know and be like really, really good for the last month. You know what I mean? Like I can give a lot to the applications thing, or do I jump over to the different one, the one I'm not so good at, as a 1 month crash course? You know what I mean? So I don't know where I want to go. The decision is being made not by my manager, which is annoying. It's being decided by someone else's Scrum Master, one of the Lewis's Scrum Master, and he doesn't know what I'm good at. And I assume they're just going to put me onto like it shouldn't be his decision. Basically, when my manager comes back, I'm going to be like, yo, I don't know about this. What do you think I should be on? Because I think it's better for me to learn the web stuff, but I can give more to the non-web stuff, to the back end. So I think as a learning experience, I would much rather do the front end stuff. I don't like it as much, but it would be good to learn. But I'd be able to deliver more business value to the back end. So I've got to I don't know, I think I prefer the back end. So you know what I mean? It's like I'm giving myself a month's worth of torture. Also, the second week of August. Second week of August, we are moving to head office. Yes, I couldn't quite escape fast enough, could I? Because I finish at the end of August. They couldn't have waited 1 more month, and then I'd have got away with not having to go up to head office. But unfortunately, as is life, I am heading up to head office at the end of the start of August. Which means having to drive the motorway to go to work. That sucks. It's a lot further, it's about twice as far for me. It's really annoying. I'll take two motorways to get there. Whew. It's one hell of a commute. So I've got that to look forward to. Not. Is that all for work? I think it is, you know? I think it is. And that's good, because it looks like my dinner is going to be ready pretty sharpish. I finished and it's about 8 o'clock. I was umming and ahhing about putting my bedclothes away, or not. Or like doing a wash. But I haven't really got enough clothes to wash, you know? That's the problem, boys. So, should we talk politics? That's the question. Because the budget, was it yesterday the budget got announced or some shit? The budget got announced at some point, so by the time this video goes live, it's probably late. And people are flipping their shit. They are literally flipping their shit. And I've read the budget, I think it's relatively decent. It's probably the first year I've actually read the budget. Well, not read the budget, read the bullet points. It's actually the best thing about the budget, in my opinion, is you get to see where all the newspapers lie. Because just judged by easily on one day, you can go, right, let's get 9 newspapers, look at all the front pages and go, Conservative, Conservative, Labour, Conservative, Labour, Conservative, 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 Labour. It's great. That's brilliant. That's really good to be able to see where they bias. And not many of them. I'm trying to think now to see if I've only ever seen like where like the BBC tweet out the thing is. I'm trying to think if I've seen any that actually look relatively unbiased. Don't think so. The biggest thing on most of my viewers' minds, I guess, due to the demographics of which that we live in, do I really want to turn this into a massive ramble video that could alienate half my viewers? No, I'm going to be the voice of reason here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to help you not be deterred from university. One of the things that the Conservatives announced in the budget was that they're scrapping the maintenance grant. And the maintenance grant, if you didn't know, like, at the moment there's 2 different systems. Up to, I think, like £42,000-ish, you are eligible for a maintenance loan. I think the maintenance loan, you can just take whatever though, can't you? It's just like 3,000 something. Take it if you want it, I think. I think that's true. I'm not sure. I think that might be means tested. I don't know. And there's also a grant. If you're under £40,000, you'll get like a certain amount of a grant, which is about the same amount of money. It's about £3,000. They're getting rid of that grant and increasing the amount that you can take out as the loan to about £8,000, according to a new site that I've just read. I actually didn't see what they were increasing it to. I knew they'd over doubled it, but I didn't know an exact figure. So there's a lot of people, right, on the internet who will go, oh, this is flip tables around. This is ridiculous. It's so expensive to go to university now. Oh my god, why is it so expensive? I'm going to tell you why it isn't. That isn't the case. All right. And I come from a relatively experienced position here. In first year, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't get access to a grant. I was literally like £1,000 out of the bracket of getting the grant, and I got full maintenance loan, so that's why I assume that you can just take full maintenance loan whenever. And at £3,600, that is not livable. You can't live off that, especially in first year, because halls are bloody expensive. In fact, my loan didn't even cover all of my rent. My own money covered half of that rent. Well, not half, some of that rent as well, for the flat in halls. So, like, that isn't enough. The maintenance loan wasn't enough, and I already had a job, but I was forced to have to continue doing my job. It would have been a case of, if I couldn't have got my job in Bath, I wouldn't have been able to go to university. I would not have been able to afford it. I just full on wouldn't be able to do it, because like, people don't understand this. When you earn more money, you spend more money, and you have more bills and stuff, and my parents had relatively large bills at the time, and like, they weren't able to support me. Not enough for me to live. They could send me the odd like thing every now and again, to their credit, but they weren't in a position where they were able to support me fully. So I was forced to work, and basically all of my loan went onto my rent. All of it, every single penny, and then some. My salary was then what fed me, and I earned £316 a month from my salary, 12 hours a week job at a supermarket of your local area, whatever supermarket you like. Second year, circumstances changed, and I was now eligible for both the full grant and the full maintenance loan. Dad now lives on his own, for example. So, as you all know, relatively well, I guess. Yeah, so anyway, that's by the by. So, I was now eligible for this whole thing, and now I was able to get like 6,000 something, I think. And that is enough, well, I don't know if it is actually enough to live on, because well no, it probably was. 6,000 is enough to live on, because I still have my job, still kept it because I'm a workaholic, and I'd be bored without a job. I don't know what I'm going to do next year when I don't have a job at uni. But that £6,000, it was enough for me to live on. I actually saved quite a lot of it away. I did manage to store a lot of savings, and I think I used my salary as kind of like a fund for me to just like live life a little bit more flashy, I guess. Living the dream. So there's that and that and that. What other things? So that was enough money relatively to survive on. The problem with the old maintenance loan system was it wasn't enough. It didn't cover enough money, so it needed to be increased. And what they've done now is they've basically gone, we're getting rid of the grants, we're increasing this. Now, people obviously don't like this because grants is free money. It's, here's £3,000, just keep it. Lol. And I wonder if this cut actually affects the universities. Can the university still give you a grant? I'd imagine so. Because there's a government grant and a university grant. So I think universities can still give grants if they're rich enough. Which I don't think many of them are. But I think, well, some of the big ones might be. Bath probably is as well, to be fair to it. Fucking loaded, Bath is. So, they're scrapping the grants and they're just going full on loan. Which, in my eyes, like, that doesn't change how much money you have at university. I've seen a load of comments on, I've actually replied to a couple of comments as well on, like, Facebook and stuff. People are like, well, this means I can't afford to, who's going to be living on rice for a year? You're being given more money. You can't, there's no way you can spin that. You will be given more money than you have been previously. So you will be able to live on more than rice. If anything, if you're living on rice now, you're going to be upgraded. You're going to be going to pasta. So it's a joke. I don't even know if pasta or rice is more expensive. You know what I mean. So you're going to be given more money. It's not going to be harder for you to live off of, like, it's going to be easier for you to live throughout the time. And I believe £8,200 is easily enough to live a year as a student. Maybe. I imagine so. I think so. There's relatively cheap rent and stuff, isn't it? And you're sharing a house, so yeah. In theory, it should be doable. Although I couldn't live off that now on my own in this flat. I'd crumble. But I'm on a placement, so anyway, yeah, by the by. So you will have more money. You have enough money to survive university while you're there. The only thing that's different is that you give more money back at the end of university. Now, a lot of people have said that, like, oh, this is ridiculous. All it does is put pressure on poor people, or whatever. But in theory, it doesn't, because the problem with the grant system was the grant and the loan were put behind the same paywall. So as soon as my family crossed over like £40,000 ish, as soon as they crossed that line, the grant was dead. You could only get £3,000 only. So in that scenario, what you're doing is you've set two limits. You're not going, here's a big pile of money, you can have this much because you earn this much. You're going, here's two big piles of money, oh, you only earn this much, that means you get 0 of that and that. You know what I mean? It's like, there's a fairer split here. But anyway, so, what was my point with that? I don't know what I was saying now, I've lost it. So, this basically means that more people have access to the right amount of money to be able to maintain themselves. And there's a lot of people saying that this is unfair on poor people who are of lower wealth incomes and whatever, and were eligible for the grant. I'm eligible for that grant. So I'm in that bracket. I'm with you guys. Right? Why is it... This is something I don't understand. So I'm more than happy for people to explain to me. Why is it unfair that you don't get free money? And I don't understand that. I don't understand why I get 3,000 however much money free from the government grant-wise. If that was a loan, that would not change how I looked at university. That's nothing. I wouldn't have gone, oh fuck, well, it's fucking £3,000 a year, fuck this, I can't afford this shit. I wouldn't think that, because, like, why do I deserve that free £3,500? I don't deserve it, just because my family's from a poorer background. And what someone I've just replied to was basically saying is that, like, rich people are unaffected by this. But that's where you're wrong, because rich people spend the same amount of money as you. They don't spend less. They spend the same amount of money. And they're like, all this does is give better opportunities to richer people. So we have to spend more money in order to get to that level. It's not really true. You could argue that you'll be paying the loan off for longer because you've got a bigger loan, so arguably the interest, but you're not going to pay it all off anyway, it's bullshit. Unless you're fucking loaded, in which case it won't matter. Anyway, so you've got this huge... I've lost what I'm thinking. So in this scenario, this is actually the fairest scenario, where everyone's got a loan, no one's got a grant. When I was in first year, parents earn just over the bracket, why is it that I have to pay back all of the money that's given to me? Why is it that this person over here, who earns £2,000 less than me, gets a free £3,000? Why is that? That's not fair. If I'm loaded and I can afford... I used to work with people who had kids who went to a fucking college that was £9,000 a term. Not £9,000 a year, £9,000 a term, and they just paid that up front. So fucking £9,000, fucking dollar bills go left, right and centre. It was crazy money. But as far as they're concerned, they pay for everything. So they pay for the full... Well, I guess they still get the £9,000 loan, but they pay for all of the maintenance, they pay for all of this and all of that. They pay, say it costs £10,000 to maintain yourself for the year, they pay a full £10,000. So why is it that this person over here, just because they're poorer, gets £3,000 less? They don't have to pay £3,000 of that £10,000. Why is that? Why? I don't understand why people think that that's a fairer system. The fairer system is, you can't afford this, okay, we'll give you a cheap loan. It is a very cheap loan. We'll give you a cheap loan so that you can pay for it. So you're not in any way, shape or form disadvantaged. You then pay the same amount of money in, even though most of it's not yours because it came from a loan. So both the rich and the poor, for lack of a better word, have paid the same amount of money into the system. They both get the same degree out of the system. They both go into the same qualified jobs. They go into the same kind of pay bracket. I saw someone else say that, oh, that means richer people will be in a higher pay bracket. No, it doesn't. You're in the same pay bracket. You pay back the same loan sum every month. You just pay it for longer. So you come out of university, that is literally the only difference is that you pay this loan back for longer. You pay the same amount out, you earn the same amount every single month. Assuming you're in, like, obviously, jobs variance, da-da-da. In this scenario, this is a fairer system. It's just because something that was given to you for free has completely gone and is now something that you have to pay back. I don't understand. Obviously, that's worse off. I'm not arguing this is a better system because more people have to pay money. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is a fairer system because everyone pays the same amount now instead of it being different. The people who can afford £10,000 a year on maintenance, they still pay £10,000 a year. People who can't are given money so that they can afford £10,000 a year. They just have to pay that back because that's how the world works. You don't get anything for free. So that's my opinions on that. What else do I have opinions on? More than welcome to have discussions about this in the comments. I may be slow to get back to you because I'm going out on Lads on Tour tomorrow, so I'm going to be drunk tomorrow from the time this video goes live, so bear with me. I'll reply hungover on Saturday. So I'm more than happy to discuss that kind of thing, but that's my logic there. I don't understand why people think that they deserve that free money, and I get the free money. I don't understand why I deserve having that money, but I know people who earn slightly more than me, or my family, don't get that free money. I don't understand why that's a fair system. And rich people don't get it all. They have to pay more just because they're rich. And they aren't rich, their family's rich. Anyway, other things. Minimum wage. Let's just discuss. The raise in minimum wage, they're going to change minimum wage to like £9 a month in the next however long. So I'm not an economist here, so I'm probably insanely flawed on this scenario. But the way I think of that is that obviously you've got to slowly increase minimum wage because it's got to match inflation. But I've tried to read up as much as I can, so I'm going to sound ignorant as hell here, and I'm going to have to end this video early so I can render it and upload it because I've already been talking for God knows how long. Long time. So, minimum wage, if I'm actually asking this because I genuinely don't know, if let's say minimum wage is currently £15,000 a year, and it's going to be increased to £20,000 a year. An unskilled job on minimum wage pays £15,000 a year. If I do a skilled job, like a job that you get from outside of university, that gets me £21,000 a year, into the bracket where I have to now start paying back my loan, and then the unskilled job bumps up to £20,000, surely the skilled job also has to bump up. Because otherwise, what's to incentivise people to get a skilled job? What's to incentivise, like, employers to keep skilled people if they could just go and do an unskilled job for basically the same money? So, if you extrapolate that, the way I see it is if you increase, like, the pay here, it's going to go like that, I reckon. If you increase the pay here, then the one just above it is also going to have to increase, and everyone is just going to end up increasing. There'll be a curve, obviously, because, like, multi-billionaires aren't going to earn more because someone down there is making £5,000 more a year. So it'll probably go like that. But then, like, the closest people to that pay rise will also get pay rise. They'll get pay rise. Then it'll just, like, climb and climb and climb until people who are earning £40,000 a year also earn now, like, £44,000 a year, etc., etc., etc. Sounds great, right? Everyone has more money, which in theory, in the short term, I guess, is better for the economy because people spend more money and all that kind of shit. Like, there's 1,000,001 variables here that I cannot comprehend. And so, in that's what I think will happen. First question, people who are in the know, will that happen? Because I imagine it would. Because if I'm on £21,000 and people who, like, flip burgers for a living also earn £20,000, then I should be because I'm not earning more just arbitrarily, I'm earning more because I'm more skilled. So it should, in theory, climb as well. And yeah, those employers will have to then pay to keep them. Anyway, so, right, that sounds good in theory, everyone has more money, but then surely that's kind of equivalent to printing more money. And printing money sounds like, oh yeah, let's just print more money, happy birthday. But that's bad in some scenarios. In some scenarios it's kind of okay. But if you print more money, the value of money goes down. So even though you're giving people more money, everyone has more money. So it just gets cancelled out because money becomes less valuable through like 1,000,001 batteries here. So if everyone's got more money, then no one's got more money because, you know, it's like that thing, if everyone's a millionaire, is anyone a millionaire? No. Because it'll just be shuffled down. That's how like currency works. So surely in the scenario where you give everyone an extra, what actually is the pay rise? Is it £93, so it's an extra third, is it? So it probably is almost an extra £5,000 a year, because minimum wage is roughly 5k, isn't it? 15k, sorry. So a third of that, 5k, add it on, 20k, kind of, almost. If you give everyone an extra 5k, then you really haven't technically given anyone extra 5k, because then all that will happen is the prices of everything will just go, doo-doo-doo, everyone's got more money, they're probably going to buy me, doo-doo-doo, price up. So surely that's a lose-lose scenario. Well, it's not lose-lose, it's irrelevant. You may as well have not done it. You may as well have just matched inflation. Because all I can think that would do is that would drive inflation by £5,000. Or by 30%. I'm probably completely wrong on there. Like the student stuff, I can talk from experience. That I've got no idea. I'm not a business person. It's probably the reason why I shouldn't run my own business. I should get someone else to run my business for me. But that's how I reckon that would work. Is that what I want to say on that front? Yeah, so I don't see the point economically in increasing minimum wage apart from the fact that you're making the people on the minimum wage happy, so they'll vote for you in the future because you raised minimum wage. You know what I mean? I think it's like a false thing. It's such a false thing to do. It's just to say, oh, let's give everyone an extra £2, and then the value of pounds just goes bloop. There you go. All irrelevant. So I don't know. That to me sounds like a policy that's increased just because it's like a load of people here started saying that, and all it is if I vote for them, I'll get paid more money. But the value of money disappears. Surely it disappears, because it's like printing money. If you print twice as much money, your money is half in value. I don't know. I don't know how economics work, man. There's also people that say, like, if your loan, like they could sell the loan to some private company who then just like force you to pay it back even worse. In theory, they could do that. Apparently, don't know. Apparently so. But yeah. So there's words about politics. That's what me and Shawnee Boy have been talking about. We've also talked about Trident and investing in military. But we'll leave that one out of this video. This video is already long enough. I'm going to sit down to do some developing. We're now talking about, like, if everyone just finally says no more to nuclear missiles, or no more to missiles like that, that's the day a meteor is going to smash into the Earth and we're all going to be dead anyway. So that is everything. I'm going to sit down to do some development work now. I'm probably going to end this video back at 10. It's a really long video though, so it might take me some time to render. Like I say, comments. Let's have a nice discussion. I'm having a relatively nice discussion with someone on Twitter, on Facebook as well, at the moment, which is all right. But we'll have nice, educated discussions. Not, David Cameron's a wanker. David Cameron's a... So, yeah. I'm gonna do some work with my glasses, otherwise I know I won't do some work. Do I need some tea? I feel like I've talked myself out. What I'm gonna complain about now, right? First world problems, I know. But, like, it's really annoying how, here's some Visual Studio Code, right? If I want to see the tests, because I'm doing testing right at the moment, I need to run these tests, like, quite regularly. I have to click and run all these tests. But now that makes this too small. Like, why? This window is like the size of my hand. That isn't big enough. I need more space. I need bigger monitors. They're already too big. I need bigger monitors, or I need, like, some people at work have 2 monitors, and on one monitor, I can't do this because I have Google open most of the time, so I will have, like, I don't know, like Twitter or even Google to, like, Google stuff. They'll have things like this popped out, and it'll be on this monitor as well. So, I may get to the point where I need to do that because I can't deal with how much space. Like, it annoys me. I have to set it so that it all pins back so it doesn't stick out at all. Like, I normally have it like that, so I've got as much space as possible, but then there's loads of things that I just don't have visible. Like, there's all these as well that just aren't visible at the moment. These things. You know what I mean? I need a better solution to have more space. Look at that blur. Literally, just before I pressed the button, it just went blurry. Do you reckon that's the better layout? So you have, like, tests, code, running tests, solution, Team Explorer to check in, Google to tweet stuff. It's important to have Twitter. Like, you couldn't make that full screen. That's silly. I don't know. I need to invest some time into this though. Because maybe it would actually help if I had this take up the majority of the screen, because then it stops me doing things that distract me as well. So it might be more in the zone. But I think it's excessive to have that any more than half page. Because that at full page, look, like it's too much. It's too much empty space, you know? You could have code half. That would work. But I think that's probably best to have that split like that, and then you can have things like Google and Twitter and shit there. It just means you can't watch YouTube videos while you're working. And is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing at all? No, it's not. It might be harder to get into the zone because you're like, oh, I've got to, like, minimize this and do this. It might be slightly harder to get into that zone, but once you're in that zone, it'll be harder to get out of it. Let's do some work. That's another thing as well. I'm going to end the video now because otherwise I'm just going to keep adding stuff. That is all assuming that university is worth it for you as well. I recommend university to anyone who's going for a degree / a job where it matters. I think it is a lot of debt to go into. It's a lot less than countries like America, and it's a lot less than quite a lot of countries around the world. I don't get why Scotland and Wales have free shit over here. I don't get that. But yeah, if, like, it's a lot of money, a degree. It is a lot of money, but there's also been some really good research in America. I haven't found any in the UK, although I haven't particularly looked for it, to be honest with you, about, like, whether it's a good investment or not. Like, a lot of people say, like, yeah, but university isn't really that, like, you don't need university to get a good job. Like, the argument is that if you go to university, you can demand a higher salary. But that's not necessarily true, because you can work for a higher salary, you can just get better experience. And in theory, you could go, it's not too difficult. I was offered to be fast-tracked up to a manager at the supermarket I worked in. it's not too difficult to like climb up a ladder and earn money that way without having a degree and then not having a ludicrous amount of debt. But the simple fact of the matter is that I can leave university and demand over £21,000 for my job role. Specifically my job role. I'm in a very lucky job role as a computer scientist, as a software engineer. It's a very lucrative market to be in. So a lot of people say, like, is it worth it? Like, you could argue that in the 4 years I've been at university, I could have taught myself everything I know now, and I could have, because half of the things I've learned are all easily accessible online. They really are. In fact, the majority of things I've learned, I didn't learn at university. So there's that as well. Is it worth it? Could you have got to a better place? At the end of graduation, will I be in a better place if I would have just sat and worked my arse off for 4 years and got experience that way? That's the question. That's a genuine question that people have to ask themselves. I'm in the bank that for certain degrees, university is still definitely worth it. And while the loan is ridiculous, and it is really friggin' high, it's worth it. There are genuine... did I even tell you that? I think I just mentioned it, just moved on. There's genuine studies where they say that investing in an education has insane turnaround compared to investing in stocks or investing in, on average on stock, because obviously you could strike lucky, or investing in gold. It's like the graphs of, in fact, let me just find one. This is a graph from America. So I'm not sure how this would apply to the UK because of 1,000,001 variables. That's investing in housing, investing in long-term treasury bills, gold, AAA corporate bonds, stock market, bachelor's degree and associate's degree. 20% internal rate of return versus gold, less than 5%. I would say with a certain number of degrees, it's definitely worth university, but you have to really want it. You can't, I don't think, it's a lot of money to go, I don't really know what I want to do with my life, I'm just going to go and do this. You know? I'm going to go and do this at university. I'm going to go invest and plumb in £50,000+. I mean, I'm in over £50,000 worth of debt at the moment, I think. I'm going to go and just sink 50k into something that I don't think I want to do. You know what I mean? You have to be really, really certain now that you want to do it. But if you do want to do it, don't let it put you off. All this money stuff, all this grant stuff. Because to be honest with you, like the amount you pay back, I've seen it on people's salaries and stuff, the percentage is really bloody small. And if you've never had that, then you won't know it, you know what I mean? It's like if you're constantly paying for like your mortgage, as soon as your mortgage disappears, you've suddenly got like this money you've got. You're not, you know what I mean? Like if you're constantly paying something out, you're basically not paying it out. You're just earning slightly less. It depends how you think about it. I'm very blasé with money. Just invest. You speculate to accumulate in this world. And yeah, I know that in my career, in my career going forward, it's a very high paying career and it's relatively easy to climb the ladder as well. So there's starting salary at the place that I work now is actually quite low at, I don't know, I don't think I can even put a figure on it, to be honest with you, I'm not sure I'm allowed. But I know people there that are on between in the 20s or in the £30,000. I know people there that are in the 60s and 70s thousand pounds. You know what I mean? So depends. If you're earning £60,000 a year and you spent £50,000 on loans, it's pretty decent way up, isn't it? That's what I think. But will you go into a career like that? That's also a question you have to ask. I don't know. That question is entirely up to you. There's a lot of people that would argue that actually after 3 years of graft instead of university, you'll be in a better place, especially in the software engineering world. A lot of people have that argument. A lot of people say that the computer science degree is absolutely worthless because you can learn it all online. But however you think, really, isn't it? It's all completely personal and speculative. And it's only worth it if you think it's worth it, really. But yeah, I don't worry about the crazy amount of debt I'm in. And people after me will be in even more debt than I am. That's what I think is, well, it's not relatively unfair, because it's maintenance loan. The tuition fee loan, I think, is relatively well, I don't think it's unfair. I'm actually I'm on the boundary of, it's a good thing it's raised, because universities, you know, places like Cambridge, your degree is worth a hell of a lot more than £9,000. It's literally worth like 20+ thousand pounds a year to them. They sell off land at Cambridge so that they can afford the degree to give you. Degrees are worth the money, in my eyes. I'm on the bank that it should be about £9,000 a year to invest in. But what I don't like is that people like, say, Andy and Gilbert, my good old friends Andy and Gilbert, they started a year after me. They get the exact same degree. They're in my year. They deferred a year. They're in my year. They pay a third of the price and get the same thing out of it. Maintenance loan is different because you obviously live your life with it. You don't get something out at the end of it. It's just how you live for that year. But yeah. The thing is, like, there's people at my university like who come from Wales and pay £3,000 instead of £9,000. They don't get a different experience or a different degree or less benefits or whatever by being there. Like, I get a free sports card, hey! But so does they. So that's the spin. That's my opinion on the thing, you know. But yeah, what I'm saying is, think about whether you want to go to university. Don't think about how bad the loans are. Because yes, it sounds like a crazy amount of money, but if you're going into a career that pays that amount of money, then it's worth it. Or you go into one that doesn't pay that amount of money, and then the amount that you pay back each month, you just continue to pay it for the rest of your life, and you'll write off like £20,000-30,000 of the debt, in theory. So in short, don't worry. If anything, you've got more money now, you've just got to pay it back. It's the way of the world. Nothing in life is free. The sooner people learn that nothing in life is free, the less you can be bitten. The less you expect of the world. If you expect less of the world, then it can't shit on you. It's my fucking thingy of life. You have to work hard to not get shit on. There's a quote there somewhere. I don't know. I'm going to get going. I'm programming away. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to render you out and get you uploaded because it's a long video and I don't really want to stay up late rendering you and uploading you, and I don't want to leave my computer on overnight. Catch you later. I'm just going to round off that thought. You know how when you leave an argument, you then come back to it and you're like, oh, you walk away and you're like, oh, shit, I should have said this. I'm going to say, like, I've just clarified what I meant about that whole, you're paying like a small amount every month and you won't notice it. What I mean is it's not like for 8 months, for half of your life you've been paying £100 a month and then suddenly it's £200 a month. You don't know what it's like having that money, so how can it be a bad thing? You know, that's what I mean. Like, I look at my pay packet and I'm like, X amount of money is going out in income tax and X amount of money has gone out to national insurance. But I'm like, well, that's just what it is, isn't it? It's tax. It goes. It's just how the world works. It goes. But I don't know what life is. But because I haven't had it where I haven't been taxed, I don't know what it was like before the tax. So I can't complain about it, really. That's the way I look at it. That's what I mean about, like, yes, you're paying back more for longer, but you're not really paying back more because you're not really paying it back because you never had it in the first place. It's not coming out your bank balance, it's coming out your wages. So you never really had it. That's how I think about it. That's a really screwed up way of thinking about it, but if that helps some people, it might do. Like, I don't realise that I pay X amount of money to income tax because I get paid, let's say a rough figure, I get paid £1,500 a month, roughly. There's a rough figure. Is that like minimum wage? I don't know how much, whatever it is. Let's say I get paid £4,000 a month. I don't, right? But if before I even get that £4,000, 300 is taken out through income tax, 100 is taken out for national insurance, another 100 is taken out for student finance, then really I'm being paid £3,500. And I think that sits differently in my brain than you giving me £4,000 and me giving you 500. You never really had it in the first place, so you're not really paying it. That is some really shit, screwed up logic, but that might help you. I'll catch you later.